Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Mad Capper and there's another video on Raid Shadow Legends. It's time for another raid rant. I got a bunch of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Stone Skin. I've kind of let that marinate a little bit, let it go through a couple seasons before I really get into that. Still pretty salty about it, but we're not going to talk about that today. No siree. Today, I also want to talk about the quite apparent memory leak within this game that is absolutely frustrating. I actually watched every time and doing Fire Night runs because it's a two-time event right now. Going through and watching Allure pause for a good second before every time she attacks is absolutely frustrating. In 2022, in a mobile game, I think you can figure out how to remove memory leaks. We all know the artifact, but I'm not going to talk about that today either. We're going to save that for another video today. Today I want to talk to you about you, the community, and of course we're going to blame Plarium because Plarium is ultimately at fault for this, but we are the ones who allow ourselves to be fooled. Shards, 10-time, 2-time, double rates, double this, triple that, quadruple everything. It doesn't matter. You're being scammed. And on top of it, you're eating it up just like a fat kid on a Smartie. And I can say that because I'm a fat kid and I love Smarties. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about shard pulls, shard rates, shard everything about shards in today's raid rant. Oh, what do we want to talk about? First thing I want to talk about is you guys eating it up. I've never seen this outside of what other addiction do we sit there and consume? Like, I feel like it's back in the day. So once upon a time in France, they used to the morgue used to be public domain. You used to be able to go into the city morgue and look at all the dead people. And the reason for this is because the amount of people that are dying were rather significant. The ways of communicating this were very slim. So people would actually go down to see if their loved one had died from the morgue. And it became kind of a spectacle, a little bit crazy. We always knew French people were a little bit off the offside. And this just proves it. No offense to my French friends in the Contest Creators Program. But this reminds me of this. You're watching people open shards. And I will tell you, I have a handful of shard opening videos. They even did well, but I still refuse to do them very often. Maybe a yeet pull, I'll do something, but I just hate shard pull videos. And yet, time and time again, you look at any one from the top all the way down to the bottom. If they do shard pull videos, they bring in 10 times the views, sometimes double, triple the views. You guys like watching people pull shards, and then you get sucked into it because people aren't going to do, here's my 1,000 shard pulls. They're going to show you what they got. So they're going to abbreviate it down to a 20-minute clip of them getting 2-3 Legos, and you're going to be like, oh, everything's good. That didn't happen to me. It must be Plarium's fault, but it's not Plarium's fault. It's your fault, and let's go through why first off. But then we'll talk about where Plarium owns this and has a lot to blame. First of all, let's talk about rates a bit. We know the rates, and we know the rates in regular, and we don't need to get into the math of the regular. 0.5, 0.56%. So 0.5% chance to get one, which is an average of 1 in 200. People can tell you, smarter people than I, phone up HG Senti and ask them the exact odds. There are websites that you can calculate the odds. If you have 200 shards, it's actually not 100%. It's just the averages. The probability is like 81% or something like that. And actually, the pity system hits about 90% probability to pull a shard by the time you actually hit the pity. So isn't that crazy that the pity is so close to 100%, and yet we get shocked every time we don't get one? And at 1%, obviously it's an average of 100, but you can go right to 220 because it still is only a 1% chance. That is a 1 in 100 chance every time you pull a shard. But then on top of it, we add in this Kymar one, and I saw the numbers, and absolutely mind-boggling how many they opened. And here's the math. Here's the math in it, and it's very simple. There's 116 non-Void Affinity Legendary Champions currently in the game as of today. I may have, this may be off by 1 or 2. I literally counted. And then 7 of those are unique champions, so that you cannot actually get them from shards. You can see the list here. Thea the Tome Angel, Lydia the Death Siren, Gomlock Sky Hide, holy, Archmage is an epic, Rion is an epic, Akoth, Eurost is another one, Ramontu, Ninja, and Alexander, and I think Bathasa, and there's another one in there. Anyway, 7 of them that are unique legendary. So that means you have a pull pool of 109 champions. And if you have 109 champions, it's a 1 in 109 chance that you get a specific champion. And then the 10-time event. So what that is, if you pull a legendary champion, and what shard it is, you know it's double rates, could be 1%, could be 12%, depending on if you're opening ancient, void, or sacred. And then you've got a 0.92 chance in a normal world. Say it's a 2 times event and I'm just pulling. It's about a 0.92% chance that you'll pull the legendary you want. And that's without any foil hat theories of skullduggery and tomfoolery by Plarium. But guess what? 10 times doesn't mean you have a 10% chance. Oh, no. No. 10 times means out of 109, you now have 11 chances out of 109. So 11 divided by 109, drumroll please, is about 1.01% chance that you pull your wanted legendary champion. Now, this was an amazing event originally when there were 40 to 50 legendary champions. It's still pretty good for the void affinity, but when we're talking about non-void affinity legendaries, that is still a hair above 1% chance. That means you have to pull 100 legendaries in order to get yourself to Kymar. Not even guaranteed, but to have a highly successful rate of getting a Kymar, you have to see 100 legendaries pulled. 100 legendaries, which, by the way, it's a 1 in 100 chance, and if you all do the math, that's 100 times 100, which is 1 in 10,000 shards to guarantee, or virtually guarantee, a Kymar pull. And I know I'm simplifying the math, and the actual probabilities work way differently than that, but this is just for you to wrap your head around it. Maybe it's 8,000, maybe it's 7,000. I don't know. Hopefully one of the smart math people can do the actual calculations. If you can, please leave it in the comments down below. But essentially, it's a minuscule chance, and yet I saw nothing but everyone complaining. I never got a Kymar. This is a scam. Plarium's scamming me. The rates weren't turned on. This is not the real rates. Yada, yada, yada. And yet you go to all the videos and you won't believe how many Kymars were pulled. Well, I do know that in order to get 12 Kymars, the numbers may be off. This is third-hand information. The event winner for the Champion Chase Tournament, which I think is no longer... Is it still here? Maybe it's still here. The event winner... Oh, look at that. I can go see the global. Let's go see the global. You can see I didn't pull... I already have 2 Kymars. This gentleman right here who has 691,632 points opened up, I heard, 15,000 shards, got 12 Kymars. Which is above average if we do the math. So how much money? Well, you can do it. It's about a buck an ancient, and I tell you that's at the best value, which he definitely did not get because he bought a bunch of gems and converted gems to ancient shards. That's the only way you can get as many shards as you had to be able to pull. So you're probably looking closer to $150. So you're probably looking at about a $22,500 pull session over 2 days or 3 days in order to get 691,632 points in order to secure himself 3 plus 4 Kymars. That is what I heard third hand. If you know the actual what happened, let us know in the comments down below. But my whole point is, look, the math is the math. It's not tinfoil hat. It's not the rates are turned on. It is a minuscule chance that when you pop a legendary during a 10-time event, whether it's in a 2-time or not, the chance of that legendary being the champion that's on the 10-time event is next to nothing, especially when it's a single champion. When it's a group of desirable champions, the odds slightly go up. When it's voids, it is considerably better. It nearly doubles your chances based on the number of void champions. Actually, I think it might be over double now. But you have to remember that. Now, how is this Plarium's fault? Well, because they're the ones that make the rules. And they have to know that when they first introduced the 10-time event, there were less than half of the current legendary champions in the game, and yet they still play off this 10-time champ. They still offer all these packs. They still sucker us all in, trying to get us to spend our hard-earned money to pull a champion that, in all likelihood, 90% of the people who are pulling shards will not get, or will spend enough that they should just be able to buy the damn champion at that point. Which is why I come to, what do we need to do to fix it? Let's be 2022. Remember I said it. Let's be solutions oriented. So how do we fix it? Do we go to 20 times? Do we go to 30 times? No, we don't. We do a rotating banner. This is exactly how they do it in many other games. It's how they should do it in this game, because they're going to keep adding champions. So at what point does 20 times not be enough? 30 times, 50 times, 100 times? At some point, as they keep adding champions, whatever the multiplier is, it's still going to be minuscule compared to the chance of not getting, and it's still going to get people frustrated. Look, if they do a diminishing banner, guaranteed champion, they've done it before and other things, but if you're putting Kymar in there, I think Kymar should be available in a 10 times. For example, in their current 10 times, instead of that, it should be a banner champion that after a certain number of pulls, you get one. And I guess maybe the Kymar event proves that I'm wrong. From their perspective, this probably paid for their annual salary. When you consider only one person, the top guy, probably put 22,000 plus US dollars into the pack. Now, how many people did that? Well, at least 100 people put in anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000. And how many people put in $100, $200, $300? Tens of thousands of people did that. That's a lot of money in one weekend event, in probably the biggest event ever. So maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I feel needs to happen, rather than just going to 20 times, which would make it a little bit better, but still a very low percentage chance to actually pull the champion that you're pushing for. Is have more guaranteed events, have more events where after a certain number of shards you get that champion. And or at least the times event goes up and then it resets once you pull any legendary, maybe. So you start at a 1% chance to get Kymar. You open up, for every shard you open up, it goes up by point something until it's a 50-50 chance. And if you get a legendary, at least by that point, you're looking at the point like, hey, I open up 200 shards, I haven't pulled anyone. This is terrible. But my chance of getting the Kymar has increased to 30%, 40% from that 1% chance. Because I'll tell you what, the only thing that feels worse than opening up 200 shards or 220 to get your full pity on a 2-time event is doing that and not getting the champion that you were rushing for. That is an absolute tragedy. You get a Tila Gormain, you get your 5th Lugan. Yeah, thanks a lot, Plarium. You get those sort of champions, and suddenly you're like, well, what is this all for? And it actually pushes you to not pay. Look, the guys at the top, the 670,000 point guy, he's going to pay no matter what. He's going to keep opening until he gets his 12 Kymars. Maybe you don't get 22,000 out of him this event. Maybe you only get 12, 13,000, but you get 12, 13 off the next event too, because he looks at it and he goes, well, I only spent, my budget was 50,000 over this month and I only spent 30, so I'm good. I can go for another 2-time event or whatever. So I would really like to see that, where you get increased rates on the banner champion. I also believe banner champions, or maybe a set of banner champions, should be active at any time you have an event. 2-time, 10-time, guaranteed champion, doubled pull. I think there should always be a banner champion, a champion that sits there and it says, every time you open up a shard, you increase the opportunity to get this legendary champion. I think that'd be really fun. I think it would encourage people to open shards. Let's have it all the time. Let's just say, hey, February is the month of the Sacred Order. So unless we otherwise specify during specific weekend events, anytime you open up a shard, it increases the odds that you'll get one of the legendaries from the Banner Lords or whatever, right? You could do something really cool like that, and you can figure out the numbers so it's not going to stop you from gaining all the money you get out of these events, because I know this is how you make your tens of millions of dollars, is through shard pulls. Energy packs and all the rest of the stuff is secondary to these shard pull, which is why you have so many absolute whale accounts that actually can't even compete in the game because they don't have enough artifacts and all the stuff you actually need to do to make an account worthwhile. So That's what I have for you. That is my rant number one. Why do you watch shard pulls? Let me know in the comments now. What is it about shard pulls that attracts you? You don't watch people do cocaine on TV, do you? Is that you don't sign up and be like, let's just watch people do lines and bumps? You probably don't do that. You probably don't go watch a bunch of people sitting in rehab coming through withdrawals from heroin. Well, I guess you do. There is actually a show on A&E like that. So maybe again, I'm the crazy one. But somehow you like watching the shard pulls. I don't get it. I don't get the lure of it. But it is undeniable how much you guys like it. Maybe I need to do that. Let me know in the comments below. Should I be doing shard pulls? Also, number two, stop complaining about the rates. The rates are your own fault. Math is math. It's not some sort of voodoo science. It's not some sort of rain dance in order to get the legendary you want to drop. It's simply math, and the math is against you. The math is so vastly against you. You'd be better off playing slot machines, because slot machines have a better chance of paying out than legendary events in Raid Shadow Legends. And finally, Plarium Fix It. Give us some guaranteed banner champions with incremental increase with each shard opened that is not a legendary. That resets when a legendary comes in, so that after 200 shards, you'd have a fighting chance to get that legendary champion that you've been so itching to get, rather than what happened this weekend and every other time you do one of these events. I'm Mad Capper. That's my raid rant for the day. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you are being kind to one another. I hope you are staying safe. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.